Ghana de shimama ya mamunyina hamo makwa ba de ba UTV so braso sepre mutubra kan kase bo ye de eba ebesomwo fi studio se no shefa asabeka judgment crying kase boy ubenya bi etia na seda no eko de amazeswe chocolate drink Ghana cocoa ni de aye ede aya no anu bi best point savings and loans and the best assurance special ice natural mineral water and drinks out do kan bi nene amobo michidom afi ensam nchiremu eni Ejuso mashebedwani a waka no kreti ne abusuafo akwakwose Ghana mampanyi na adodanko akufu ado ayie na achiamenye so akasa de atudwa akiremu se asoafo foforo ne wona bedi akire no nyade se bedwo matum kopum ebra court nsensem ombetimi adi awie wo sa ensem ne ho na LGBTQI+ emrawdo no ena muslimi nkabomuko a eno no ewo kasoa ne potem kirem se omampenya bedi eche wonche ni jinabia na yehu ne ewo kafa ho na nkofo bi boni die tia boni di obabia ewo mu yade ani ebekiremu ewo achem akokoso a no wapoye mantemu enema ebo ma sitine tumpo ne koye no manfo ni bi enti ohene akasa sre omampenyi se omra na omaye ommoa ensamuru bi ka hodon hwe ba kontem apiaji wa kwade majepenie ambeba beso mu afa ensamuru nchiremu eni Nanu obi ne beto odwase osoafo abede etwetwe sikasem so a wono na ye adwuso mashebedwani onumonyamfo John Ampontua kuma edaye awansore na sede amamre ne amane esitie no so dupontutu a aya ne yekosi empenifo ayi eno enti Owura John kuma abusua aba Jubilee House nkran abesi omampanyi ayi de atonanim se yewurai otu kwatentene
Bosumi ewo mu yi edo etoso enum na John Kuma free enkran ha eba adweso constituency so ni eba be this March obedru adweso nwrebe nunum obedru fie ade chi anopa no na ne ho dodo no enti ofre constituency chairman say oni constituency executives enko ka MC ho na 6 March no behwese de bia bitima koso ampa mpanyimfo nsuso eye ne saa ade chi ya wada anopa no na napum eye ne mre ti adwene ho senka ewiemhye a wode ba akumase no eno a ne be mana saade aba na ehwe no na hodin no entimi ti ye pe wada ma wa ambulance ye wodwusu yi ede ma no sa mre na yere nsoso aba be ka no ho a ni doctor nsoso free enkran ha ebe ka no ho eda ukua da ni nyina adama ade akye ti ede mpai bota o machi se o mumran kran na ometoa na yarehwe so Radama udru suhum sede na ade ani sitie no na emu ayedin ti doctor oka no ho e kire se ne omompan fa suhum ayaresabia idru ho no na waye nyamedia ti eba se no na ese busua etoto de ese etoto bia na de ese bibia de ko bia no ni nyina na ye wa fise abusua enim se dwonkuma nyina no wadaroma e wo mampanyi no na ye dwonkuma saa enti yentimi nye bibia na ese ye ba ne ho na ye di amanebo ebebo ne se onoa ne ba John Ampontua kuma Samri onka tiasefo Radama ye ba ya Ukrainian Broninsa Snap Pentunsia Black Label so pantu mienu afi krata edaso a ye de echre na madawoma ye ba ya asema ye ma iwura atene se Onoa na de nyina ne ba John Ampontua kuma Samri akrabo aka no
me be ko mrantia mi jam tia ma ono no ka ho pa me denso se dwo de metifa ono ne ho nyina wo ho no na nyina papa kwa wasum peyfo wo heno pema peyfo nyina wo ho na amanfo no dia bedie ntiase wo akire mai mubi wo akire pa se Jokuma vibrant young man like this wa bedare nyakopo asepsa so batiase na ede neso ese so musa nyakopo ono no hyehyɛ bibia na double friends so no ono anonim yiri ga se be mam nyina hyɛ de onkose Sassem say about Betum. Abetum about Betum, actually, in our one PP money by me. Yeah. When I teach you a branch and you then a ma. That's what about Chino. Remember, Zizzy, CIA and a CIA. And Pesu P. That will be baby. I can say, John Kuma, Papa say, obey Grandma Kufuado, the MPP. Say this. The percentage of people Casa Sapra. To the CIA, need to me a Jan Kwan fair fellow. Oba Penny, Chief of Staff. Before we could, she share Baby in a moment, and maybe was here if it's
Aswafo foforo ene omo abedi ekire no na ketwa fata semra shibedwafo ne ji omo tumu ansana omo asori akọ ahomegye mu Easter yi na eso so no achiamehene oru agbabe na kasa ede atodwa se won ma wo kwan e ma yenye omo entum na wo kire mu se omampanyi ekufu ado enam ne twotwofo so e kire mu se LGBTQI emra no se yemfa nkọ to ma court ni asem ni nwe pe won fa ne nsa hya se no sesa ene ye so court da ye so enti yen so nya de se beje atumu a wadi atudwa achem se gise obi biara ina afamu de ansa na so afu ya jomatum.
The president via the executive secretary conveyed to the clerk that it was unable to accept transmission of the bill. Honorable members, the Parliament of Ghana will comply with the existing legal frameworks and reject the attempts by the executive secretary of the president through his contemptuous letter to instruct the clerk to parliament, an officer of parliament whose position is recognizably under the constitution. We shall not cease and desist. Be that as it may, honorable members, I also bring to your attention the receipt of a process from the courts titled Roxanne Nelson Eche K. Dafiamako versus the Speaker of Parliament and the Attorney General, suit number J1/12/2024, which process was served on the 19th, that is yesterday, March 2024, and an injunction motion on notice seeking to restrain the Speaker from proceeding with the vetting and approval of the names of the persons submitted by His Excellency the President until the provisions of the Constitution are satisfied. Honorable members, in the light of this process, the House is unable to continue to consider the nominations of His Excellency the President, to use the language of the Attorney General and Minister for Justice, quote, in the spirit of upholding the rule of law, unquote, until after the determination of the application for interlocutory injunction by the Supreme Court. Honorable members, this is the precedent that is being set by His Excellency the President for all Ghanaians to follow. So any matter that comes before Parliament, any Ghanaian can issue a writ and follow it with an application for injunction, and that is enough to injunct Parliament from proceeding with the consideration of the business in the House.
Na edon kuma omra shebe dwam so ade atu dwa se ochia mehino mota na chifam na chisa afam ana montuni janesi a wasie se wonhwe e maye engi new ministers ni deputies no entum omusi wei eye onmonyamfo Dr. Atoforsen wono ene ekasai.
The letter constitutes a threat to our constitutional democracy, and it must therefore not be entertained at all. We will not allow His Excellency the President Akufo-Addo, to talk down at Parliament in the disrespectful and condescending tone that is contained in his letter addressed to Parliament. We wish to remind His Excellency the President that just in case he has forgotten that Parliament of Ghana is not an appendage of the executive arm of government, neither is Parliament an extension of the office of the President. The Constitution of Ghana spells out in plain language when the President of the Republic of Ghana must do when Parliament passes a bill and present to His Excellency the President. The President must assent to the bill or must refuse to assent to the bill when it is presented to him as the President of the Republic. These are the only options, and in this case, there is no middle ground at all per the constitutional imperative. Let me also say that this may be a good time for President Akufo-Addo to listen to the feedback about the size of his government. At the very least, the two top political parties, namely the NDC and the MPP, agree to downsize government size the way forward. There is an urgent need to downsize the government in order to save the taxpayers some huge cost of running the government. Already, President Mahama has signaled that in his next government, he will not appoint more than 60 ministers. Interestingly, we are also aware that the Vice President, who was part of a government that appointed 125 ministers, has come around to also promise 50 ministers. So all what we are saying is that, may I ask, ladies and gentlemen from the media, what is the prudent justification for a Minister of State at the Ministry of Finance, which with 2 deputy ministers and a Minister of State? Again, why do we have the same ministers and ministers of local government, 2 deputy ministers and a Minister of State at the Ministry of Local Government? Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to conclude by saying that the Right Honorable Speaker has made an important call, a call for Parliament to unite against the autocratic tendencies of our President and this government. Yeah. We in the NDC minority is ready to protect the sanctity of the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. Yes. And we stand with the Speaker of Parliament in this. Let the President of Ghana and his government be aware that where this country is going is strange under his watch. Yes. And the NDC minority will not countenance it.
Na edom dodo baro Daniel Munyamfo Alexander Fenyoma kenso so akasa sentrofo nhyiemu ase ede atudwa chem so mo ho adwuro papa wo gina yesi a achiamehini esi se asoafo foforo no mabedi echi omo anyintum no eye omo wanwa pa.
Mr. Speaker said that Mr. President was undermining democracy and that he should have resorted to the Constitution in making certain communications to the House. We in the majority beg to disagree on the position taken by him. If you carefully read the letter that was sent to Parliament, Mr. President limited himself to the processes before the court. And the fact that Parliament itself, through an affidavit, had joined issues. Parliament has filed an affidavit in opposition and is in court. In fact, Parliament is a party to the suit. So for us, we do not see how this would have to affect the proceedings of Parliament. In any event, Mr. Speaker has always deferred to the leadership of the House to guide him in the conduct of business. This morning, the leadership of the House sat together to discuss the various items to be taken. We have finished some of them. There were some that we were supposed to take, and we're told that Mr. Speaker would have to take the chair. It's very disappointing that after Mr. Speaker had made known his own views about the letter sent from the presidency to the clerk, he adjourned the House Synod without giving room for the leadership of the House to even comment. This we find very strange. But this is a democracy. We believe, as Mr. Speaker himself said, and I'll quote him, that this impasse calls for reflection. This impasse calls for reflection. I will play that out to Mr. Speaker himself, that we all need to reflect on the way forward as a nation. He said he was not going into the matter, as that would undermine the outcome of same. But we all know that the very issue that was raised by Honorable Dafemepo had to do with the continuing ministers who had been reshuffled to other ministries. The issue of constitutionality of certain nominees had been determined by way of they going through the vetting process, a report coming before the House for debate and final decision. So for me, these are two unrelated issues. How can the Dafemepo raise an issue regarding a minister who has been transferred? Let's put it in that state, that a minister in one ministry has been moved to another ministry, and the words used by Mr. President was that he has relieved them of their portfolio and moving them to another ministry. How does that affect a situation where a nominee has been referred to a appointment committee? Appointment committee has vetted that person, brought a report, and you say that there's an injunction application pending. Therefore, such a situation cannot be considered by Parliament. This is bad faith.
Ene eye March day to so aduonu baako National Labour Commission for Edinkrata Babonten ama Justice Kwabena Asomani edu ono na ye chairperson ne National Labour Commission nsa ene hyase na emu ensam no enie National Labour Commission for echirem se wamo emra eye section 133 clause 1 ewo Labour Act ni mu no 23 Act 651 no eye ekuo ahodo ya chechefo de no amuso mate etua no eko etia ne no babra enunti no wamo ensanka wamo adwe no wamo nkonko kira de te sede mra no etie no na chechefo ko ahodo no eye nat nagrat ene CCT wamo echirem se nieme bi o mai saba no tumi hwe no woye aba no enyeye enunti no Ghana fa na nyina de no cheche ni biara nhwe ene wankodem anko kira de enura eno mo ehye atuate no ase ena National Labour Commission for echiremu se enimani mu ye ya mede nkrata mu nsem atodwai saa achechefo eko no anamontuo ni gyaye omo asi no omo entwensense enkonko kira de na omo mbra ni mpenifo entena senkasa ma asumdue ene embra enye adwuma na mrashe bedwamu na bedwaku omo na hwe apomodine so enene omo edito aba no anim se Zipland Service Limited omo ene Ghana ban contractor na se ehyehye eda yentemu no aban wonfutumfra na omo nsansa ne fofra na se yenhwemu biem fise bibi enkoyie.
The Speaker, the same company Zipland has an agreement with Nigeria, they have an agreement with Rwanda, they have an agreement with Tanzania. And in this agreement, there is no take or pay clauses in those agreements. Mr. Speaker, this is inimical to the interests of Ghana. And with immediate effect, Mr. Speaker, if we are going to commit the state resources, we must amend these provisions in the agreement with immediate effect. And as I speak to you now, Mr. Speaker, we as a state, we are footing this bill. not only are we footing the bill, an amount of not less than 70 million Ghana cedis has been allocated. Mr. Speaker, quite apart from that, what even hurts me most is the provisions in that agreement. Whether you fly a drone or not, we are paying.
The oversight trip that we have made suggests that members across the divide believe in the fact that Zipline is providing services in the country. And no one here in my committee, no member belonging to all the sides, ever says that we should stop the services of Zipline. So, Mr. Speaker, we indeed need a service. Zipline has come to stay. They have parliamentary approval. We only have to get Zipline to work.
I have the contract here. I have the contract here. And this is the principal contract. As you can see, Ministry of Health, Ghana, and Fly Zipline Ghana Limited service agreement. Mr. Speaker, not only are we paying for what you call capacity charges, and capacity charges by intent of whatever you define it means take or pay. Mr. Speaker, I refer to 6.6, page 16. Interest on late payment. Interest. Ministry of Health will pay annualized interest at the lower of 22%. Wow. And the maximum amount allowed by law on any overdue amount. Oh, Mr. Speaker, this is a complete rip-off. This is a complete scandal. This is a PDS in the making. This is an SML in the making. This is an Ameri in the making. This is an Ajapa in the making. This scandal is turning to be the mother of all scandals. Mr. Speaker, and I am scandalized beyond imaginable proportion as far as this contract is concerned. Mr. Speaker, I beseech you, I implore you, I appeal to you to constitute a committee of inquiry without delay to investigate this scandalous agreement and report to this House within a specified period of time.
The committee, having authority, examining the distribution formula for the National Health Insurance Fund for the year 2024, believes that the formula has allocated fairly the resources across the various levels of health in line with government's objective to deliver accessible and affordable health care to all Ghanaians. The committee therefore recommends to the House to adopt this report and approve the sum of 6,872,340,000 Ghana cedi for the year 2024 in line with the distribution formula to enable the NHIA to undergo its activities earmarked for the year. Speaker, I respectfully submitted. I thank you.
Onwenya for Francis Asenso Boachi oso afa wo hwe akwan ne akwantempon so na wakwa asante mantem wakasa de atodwa se eba akwan asiesie ne akwan ayeye wa asante mantem a edo mampanyi akufo ado akoma so papa
for Asenso Boachi ekireze Kumase akwan eye ade kese pa e wose yetimi eye ne ye enam so hwe baabi akro ne dana eboa ma edwadie ekoso ewo enipa ofre echichiri ne benche ye nyina na enam sayon so de oman no empuntu eba okireze asante mantem se wo hwe mampani na nadodankwa akufu ado na aban ya akwan ahodo a wo ye no eye mantem no na enya kese pa ewom enam so hwe mantem na kwan na waye bi ena dodo na nso waye si ho a wo peso ye no wode said ye beya edwadie ene sikasam ho ntotoye no ebetimi agina brane na ebeboa oman no nso osoafo a wo hwe akwan ne akwantemponsam so ede nsem nyina etudwa ebra na ne nansa ensra hwe a wode ba asante mantem se wode nani krotwa wisie behwe akwan ahodo a ekoso no eka ho bi ema okokopie mu ewo asante mantem soafo ononyamfo Simon Osemensa enan so ene ne kobo enkomo na ensra hwe mu no wokombia ahodo a woyi akwan bi tise central so esu yebu tano so melkro kwada so apatrapa ebua kwa ene mensia
mabakuma sese me behwe se de aban enyuma ye no ekwani kwantempon so no se resiko mintimi ntrankan na akrashifo no mfa enoma mreme na makan ko ase me ba behwe se de siko eti na me ba yi sese en kase ye oso am interchange mo am ni so am interchange aka ho asem de bidim kura fi se bi entimi nya ya no na eka enso ya start here ye now it is a very big project. Akrachi for no echemu. How much I say is the single biggest road project in Ghana so far because it has a 4-tier interchange. It has an underpass at Abripo Junction, overpass. Ewo Krofum. Ibe bi so magazine ho na ebi wa Anomani. It's a big project pa na ewie so a e de ahoto bebre e na bebre ye nuanom a omo kumase ha any impo drivers a omo ko fa nioma free kran e be se ko other parts of the country like Seshi, Sunyane, Techiman, Tamale, Bogatanga, wa ekron akese a e wo Ghana ha e wo South ha no enti no e de fa so bebre na beba
Asante mantem soafo onwonyamfo Simon Osei Mensan so kire se asama ni nua onwonyamfo asenso boache de tudwa se akwan pa mampani na adodankwa akufuado eyiye de dɔso asante mantem no eye no kre
regime so bi kase aban no enya akwan a enya no kre ebia de pe no ne nya ni nyina as human beings they won't nya de opinion but adwuma de o ma yebi because about 2017 even bridges cry shas ye see tenase near planning plan bi o at that time a bit mutrago benam say bridges bi na access no dentino untimi nko so we agreed say why don't we start from fixing those bridges so we sat down and planned a kwanya e be fast at least ye dey be fix it. We so unfortunate say COVID no be having ma payments no will be delay, but in general no the government has not performed badly in this region.
Na ekwa wondin ye Islamic Human Rights Foundation Ghana Youth ewo kaswa ehutu ena kaswa ehutu senya West Mesino emu omude to mampanyi abedi ekire yuraba womia anim se ni ginabia ewo LGBTQI+ no wonfa ntodwa na yehuni ye ka ho asem yetimi aka no ye omukire mu se ebro ba kaswa zongo no omo penano disem etie wo ho
esane se asem bia beto man mu a ya asasem no ede asem kese ene bebre yen eni empo enchirima eba ene ntena nkremofo ye pese ye hunu bebi a ye omampani abedi akire His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Baumia ono so ompi no mekasa ni hunu bebi ogina ede ene tie emsese hwe a asem aba beto ho ene se sebio mpanifo manimu a ni kwanse ye kansa badakoba se ye kansa turumu ya ekoso wo manmu a emrahye bedwafo atenase akwa asetena agye atum se saade we eyade bi asabi eye chiwade kese etia ya mamre ne ya mane eni ntino eni kwanse ye sososo wo manmu na wono et kontiasia pam ama abaye mra so obi biara obaye saade ne biara no emra eni ne bedi but unfortunately I rohosam ne se ye mampeni anka ye nyina ye wire ehye ne mu senka obetimi aboya mamre ne ya mane ho ban no ase wo twetwe ne nan ase onye na dwene se opese ode ne nsa hye mra ya se na baye mra akodum pempensuo bi a ono na dwene mu no osenkrofo bi agina kira ye sign sabili na se baye mra kombedien Ghanafo esane sa amononefo sika bi e wo so mode beboa yen no emma badaro hosam ne se oman a ye se ye de ye ho ye ayenye ye fa hodie na se ye tie mamu na se yentimi hye mra emma yen ho yentimi hye mra ya ebetimi aboya mamre ene ya mane ho ban a na ye koya na se ye bai na de hu kese pa ya Ghanafo anima ho ene sa plus no sa cross no a etaya kire no enkrofo ntiase yi sa cross na etaya kire ne kire se ade no it is undefined se beka no poto kase ma na kire se enema o mo pese o mo de ba ne ensiye abiri biara on beko akoda adwene on behunu se wo se mo de bi beka ho bia no on betimi de aba beka ho eni tie betimi akodum pempensuo bi ko a sabe mpanifo manimu a oyirim po a waware no a one ne tie no obetimi aba beka kire se na ne je no na on so the right na wo se wuja oyirim de ma no sa nima we na Ghanafo ye kasetia empanifo a omo yenkremofo empanifo chief imam akasa a Christopher akasa ena nkremofo emranti a ye wo hanso ye se da bi se ye ampie a mekasa ama aban no anhunu se ba bi ade ne kro no ye de ye ho so man e wase yetimi hyemra ya asambra no ebobo yen ne ye manfo ho ban
Yeri yense Jenny Michael Krofi edin komo wo poye mantemu esi oti Boatin Senior High School no ensuato eso apa enkra no yeden akrofi akwaba
Yenia ekia
eboya mane da be na ensuo ni toye na enkra ne dabremu no masetena mu tesei
meno ekasei eyeden ema eyempadifo a ehwe oti Boatin Senior High School a ewo kofodi adodo na efre no kusek na enda ne jofa ena eye nsuo eto kese ewo kofodia enne potem hanoma ehum anasa enfama na enemu no enya asem ketwa ampa enfama no edin samone pa wa bra desuafo no ekwakope bibi akoma no titiri obo mo da ho no eno mo te se ye nchense ni nam wiem ene nam wiem mu beba lolo kwan so nkofo afiem ni ade ni nyina ne se bebia ema no eda no eho ene esu atu ma ensuo no ayeden ho se ema omonniema omonhumma ni ade enya asenkesa ensuo no ase ni nyina na eyeden papa ma desuafo a na omododo be 200 a wonom ewo girls dormitory honom a ensuo no akomusa no ne kwasam school ni penifo ebom homodin bia eboaye ma adesuafo a omho akọ egwemu no wo chomugu ada dormitories a eno no atrenchem anka omo no ebom kotida omonkofo ana so munya no nchen afi wabra ye ni school no headmaster ora Francis Tekpete edinkita hon o chese omo anko eyeden mu nyina no omo sama ebi ekotida classroom na computer lab a eno no kra amboa etimi no kase na no pay anamotu ese nadmofo ekoye efa ho assessment ese omkoye no omakoye ni nyina ma all students nso enenemu a won eboa omo chese wedie abanhwe na aban tempa bebi akade ewo manimanim he ya obetumi abo Otibwa Senior High School Girls Dormitory no so edi amomanimanim he ya no abanhwe na wonye na aboa ema mofre ya ene omohoma omoniema asese omontade ni ade no etumi aboa momanya dabrepa edi amom senye sade a ebe ha giye papa me no ekase etina ekua atrenchema esi enda ne gifa no ehonsem enam dia to judge sanfo ne penifo exercise we aban enhwe na animen ho omeye adisanfo no emwa
akrofi wode misra bisao yehu ye no na ase bebi o masili no hobat enwunu edan no asai wo hu omusi ya che wo hu
girls dormitory no ache yi papa ena aban so beye na woche misra beye afi beye miensani esi girls dormitory foforo e di ama form 2 for ne form 3 for ne form 1 for no mu ye impim ahamienu ni ekire no omo na na ewo sa dan ni ma feeling no ayi week edan no every nkanche na ewo so no crampo no na enhye da eni ahoden a enfama kakra efa no ene se esu nyina etutu a uhu se dan no enye we nti nanka ehia renovation na sense papa ena amba so a ene enfama so abese ni nti omo se dan ni bebu agu ni efi ne foforo amomo ebe ni den yo information no munya assessment wo ho na mutu bi eso mutu fa ho no omatu e bi afa ho
mo ene wa mane boy ense ntweni Michael Kofini eteni ka frepo ye mantemu no na chese woti Boatin secondary school a eno no wapo ye mantemu no wo hwe dan no atebia na ewom no nchense ni nyina ya boka asese ya apa ama enenkura no aka ye kwa wasa atase a eno wo wasa amanfi east mesinu western region adehye no ahemfo ni nyina da kan wonti apam ho e de adesede eto mampanyi kufu adone na abayanim senka ne entretire mu wonfa bimra eno achi no keji dan ankura betene mosua do mu hia bi community center na afenso ahemfie a wohene betene madi asem no aban mesi bi mawo
media ene de ye di otaye esi ene so ene dey eye community center ene ya himfia sisi a yeguso ayesi ze kuro biara wo ho na mone ba bia mo behia na oman na madwendwene mo ho a na ze kuro no ene fapem bia enti esi ene so se ye boa se de be ya ye betimi anya community center a oman ni nyina ye behia mo ho na ye wie so a ahimfia se obi firi baabi ba na wo se me ba ata asempanyimfo ho a ebenya baabi pa ade no akosue no atena na ya dwendwene ho
yumede aye di yabota esi ani so ne se ya ye bi ba ya pese
ye koni ani ense ntweni Jacob Kubi edi enkomo na ogina Malam Junction ne potamu na akodu ma efimpa mu fi yamwa efi no ayeseketu so obi mpa so niema ena agye atese ho no mu a wode mu nsem ebreye Jacob akwaba
Mira ba bejuso
ensu etoye na di efi na begu ho no mu anase omanfo no na abeye ball agu
yo se na odi kaka sa na du be mu wo ye Malam Junction a adisia ewa ha no dodo na so omo nama na omo di omonsa esi omohene ano ne kan ne kwa bi potia omodi omosasi omohua no eye malam car station or baby a car ejina ema adehye no ebefo anase baby a malam police station no ewo no oho na media tisi na me no ka se ubepiemu ewo ha se a eye station na nkasa omodi eye bola konko abesi ho se anka adehye ewo mantemu ha se so omo betu bola egu a omo fantu konko nimu no me no ka se so omo ba omo fantu eye konko num no omo de abetu fom omo de tu fom ho sa no so a na inframa nso afa na akogu gata kesi a sensoto a efemu efi eye malam bawe ene wo ka ho besin ko eye gata kesi na eda malam market ho no na eye inframa abo eye ure nyina ede akogum metwe ben station for no ebiso mo se e ba ne se no mutumi tra ha e ma adehye no ebehwe bola no edigu ha ene mo chegbo asemwe omo aka no so omo koka na nipa asamre na yi no so onhwe bola no so wo ho no na wakofa nkrofo efigbawe no mo abehwe omo pa yi nti efie no ati no omo de omo nka hwe so obi ba na so odi bola ni finifi o so prawo store mo se hifo na so de begu fo mo ho a omo de inform ho no makoma na tumdi na de ha omo anyi se sa adehye no efi omo nyuma so no mo ba befo car ewo eye malam station ho mo na obi edu ho na waso ne hen nti akoba ne sa no ama adehye no emba ho befo car bi so omo nya fi omo nyuma mo a no makojira eye kwan no ho na omo fo car no wo ho ama station ni egu na sa wo fi ho eye station ni ho mo na sa wo ba wani kaka be police station ni wo na ni opposite pe choba bi wo ho minu ka sei amafo tra ha didi anya asenkuma na so eye bola data ni nche pe no oho na choba yi omo kitchen wo omo nu eduane wo ha bibi sa eye choba ra ni se adenti na wotumi enua eduane wo data ehu a na asem a o chere mu ani se ne ho fa no be na nsene 3 days pe no sha se onu eduane ewa abonte ha na kane no onu ewa inside but onu ewa inside a hit ni tumi run ni musa no ontumi de ne ho entina odi aba abonte enti me no ka say de a driver for one of mobile full car wa anya de to asam ne ni say almost rara omo ni enipa na o hwe bola no so wa ye malam station no nkasa na onjina ho na say adehye no betu bola na egu a wotumi aka chom na mu da to inside na de ha station for nyina ni say ono na o hwe bola no so no o san so charge phone so around enti no phone na o charge microphone no na ni wo ho o di bola o command 1 cedis a na wa ko to egu so di betu inside o so di betu phone o me ni ka say de eno no emfa no kra me ya ni say me ni no ebe kasa o so nkasa ne enkasa o china so me no ka say de data ni mu de emu ayema eni bola
maame na wo ye aduane o hono mo no anyenyem bia no hwan na de hono mo ema no na omanfo na wo kakra mutimi nye kwasafo djuma mfa nti gata ni mo apomuden ye hu hia omo ana
me no ka say de maame ni de me bi say de ode hono ema no ba no kire bu say obetira ho mo ache na ne ho mfa no enti na ontumi ye aduane wo inside na oya wa abonte no na me bi say ne say na onim so say ye once ma ebetimi efri bola esu anase gata na wa be si aduane na nkrofo no edi ne so ana wenya anuye amfa amame enti me no ka say de se ne ahatie no saa na ete na midire mu wa sisi
enti kankan nkrofo kwotena mu didi
me no ka do mo busu didi owo inside o mu didi be ga ni de ye ne awo kankan ni mu de mo omo di nya no mu hu omo nsa omo hu so wan so ani be si so no mu hu ne omo nsa
ampa moto wuo makese yada se ene wamane bo ene ewie yense njwe ni Jacob Kubi ne ete ni ka free wager eye Malap Junction no na wager gba we mensi kropon no assembly no ehu se ensuo nani aba form e beto pa enti gates ahodo emu asisie no omudi atodwa so mba beti esi format timu nyina amemu adaho kama ensuo be fam wako
na me hunu se me hia be flooding cause on February March April ne betimi asue be start ato timini ni kodi nkomo ena me che ne se enimani mi de so be bo ene yitimi dredging no se ne be ensuo start se to a enche de haibi kan so boy se ne be hwa em se ko do ne koye wa support yen se yen hwe se be dredging no the reason why I now say but time I started dredging in term say no man since we started say to because of celebrating we are not able to do and so want me sheda and to boa senior senior open into ya kakra bo move ko be fofo or in attempt so you are trying to solve the issue nti ye decide say starting in term near tree boase near adwumani ye di ma municipality no sene be nsuo ni start say to a ye wi ye say adwumani wi dida nti e bakra na enhyeda ma bebre na say enkofu bebre hu hyeda enkasa and this one they decide say we want to do extensive dredging baby about 2-3 years ko yen no kan e pese ye de kan hu ade ma wo nti na ekwa no mu chem baby am say ye dredging ho ache ti maka che engineer ni say on fro person mo koye e ho kan e ho na obi amaton so okota sase no zuzu a one e say we search na wo hwe so we search bi a obeko ne be cho sa ha de intimi sidan na wo by most cases no bo no onye search bia okoye ne to sase ma no na was started in Nemakugo. They mainly buy sensors during the dry season. Into a problem using shooting when to know free say okay, if you shouldn't talk a crabia, not started behind me. Tiabeso say one is a somewhere search a one sassi or motono. 2. Anya beer before the assassin, Ubun say hadi in show faha. 3. Ubun say hadi in show her. It is in shun year a bit nearby. See any etias yes, me sure say bit me aboy. So yem pese obesi dan be boka kudu level bi na asem na da so one day near the eska say oh ha nkrofo adwinti abe bubudan basa na skadi shede no mina na yakwa yem pese be do nto mo aye ne mo aye yem mo bia
en sese yentna ho mansuo nto na emfa nkrofo dan man sese ne ama asana ya be dredge nti yene mobile no ye chem say prevention say ye boy homban asana bbs and fortunately no me kosu wo MC so say for residents no harm no ono so wanda ono so sorry abe join forces with yes your supporter ye wo say ye be yi mu kama and this is about 800 meters it me yi mu saa a che say so no to a ebetimi a hold water no and then conquer for fear. Yes, we are human activity so count. Obi didi ana they are to that obi yeah by and so say go squat wa by squat wa na ensu sa esubanu bi na yen che say ye di yen nyina ye kaboma yesusu o ma no ho a ye betimi akoye nim kama.
Yejina we say so ahome kase ebo no so ye ba bongo di fara what dia good sports e ba beto so ye ba sisi ya